Hello, this is Dan Kerr. We are at the River Terrace annual picnic. It is August 31st, 2024. Could you tell me your names?
My name is Amanda Johnson.
My name is Addie Clarke.
And could you tell me your relationship to this neighborhood?
We were brought up in this neighborhood. I guess. We weren't born in the neighborhood, but we've been in River Terrace since 1963.
62.
When she was born.
Yes. I was 3 months old when my parents, Addie and Earl Townsend, moved into this neighborhood on 3451 East Street, Northeast. And
how old were you?
How old am I?
How old were you when we moved in?
When you guys moved in?
I was 7 or 8.
And so, if I understand correctly, you're the older sister.
Correct.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so could you tell me a little bit about your parents?
So my father was a chauffeur for the International Development Bank. My mother stayed home, and she eventually started working as we got older as a cosmetologist. She went to Martha Washington School. My mother's from Louisa County, Virginia. My father was from Hamlet, North Carolina. And so prior to us moving into the River Terrace area, we lived at 6th and 8th Street, which wasn't far from here, in an apartment. Then we moved in the house, of course, and we started going to River Terrace Elementary School. At least I did at that point. She was still too young to go to River Terrace. And we have another sister. Her name is Erlene Townsend Ward, and she's in Wilmington, Delaware now. But she also, her and I, went to River Terrace First Elementary School. I graduated, and she graduated from the 6th grade, because I used to have 1 through 6 back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me, what were your first kind of thoughts and memories about when you moved? Maybe, I'm pretty sure you were too young.
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember what it was like for you to move into the neighborhood?
Oh, I loved it. As a young child, it was something different for us. They had, the school was right down the street from where we lived. We had met new friends, of course. How should I say it? The area was black and white at that time. Slowly, as I got older, white started moving out into different areas. But we were a close net because everybody next door, down the street, knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did something you weren't supposed to do, they was right on it.
Mm-hmm.
And being in River Terrace, the teachers were personable, but they were strict and they were stern. And at that time, if you did something you weren't supposed to be doing, you got in trouble for it big time in school, and then you got in trouble when you went home. Mm-hmm. But I especially liked the fact that we could go to River Terrace Elementary School, and they had a recreation center. And in the recreation center, they had all kinds of activities during this time as I was growing up for the children to participate in. And they even had summer jobs. And luckily, I was able to get summer job when I turned 14, working in River Terrace Elementary School and in the recreation center. And at night, I went to night school at Woodson, and from elementary to Woodson Junior High, and then from Woodson Junior High to Eastern. And everybody knew everybody. It was just like one big family. I mean, it was really nice. Now I don't so much know what's going on, but I do know back then, we didn't have to worry about anything. If we needed anything, people watched out for you, Our parents worked hard, of course, to keep us where we were, but I especially like being able to work and have my own little money. And Toba Watts was one of the main factors in that situation for me, because he was so involved in civic duties and doing things for the community, him and his wife, that they made it available to the younger generation in River Terrace to get summer jobs through Marion Barry's program. He used to come through the neighborhood and talk and speak with everybody. It was just really, really nice growing up in River Terrace. We had our problems, don't get me wrong. It was up and down, but for the most part, it was a nice family-oriented community to grow up into. And I missed that. But as I got older, you know, I kind of gravitated away from River Terrace because I wanted to venture out, you know. Everything was generated centrally in the area for me to work. I went from working in the recreation department to working in the government because they made programs available for us at that time to work study is what they call it, and to go to school half a day. And as I graduated from Eastern High School, I was able to go straight into the government. I don't know if they have any more programs like that now, but that was one of the programs that was available to us as we were growing up. And then I went into the government, and it's like I had my own little job. I think it was good and bad because I didn't go to college. I said, well, Mama, I'm working, so let my next sister go to college, and she did. She left and went to Delaware State. But the neighborhood itself, you know, everybody knew everybody. It was nice. It was nice. She can tell you her experience.
But it had, I wonder if you might tell me a little bit about the importance of this park and the river to the community.
Okay. Well, this park, for me growing up, this park was the place where we would come in the summertime, and we would have what they call summer in the park. And they had bands that would go around to the different parks in the Washington, D.C. area, and they would play music for the kids in the area, and it was just good, clean fun. We had a brother also. My sister failed to mention we had a brother who's he's 3 years older than me, but younger than her. And all of us went to River Terrace Elementary School. Like she said, the teachers were very awesome. They were good. They were very strict. Back then there was corporal punishment, and they could beat you with rulers.
And they did.
And they did. So growing up was really nice. My mom also, she worked in a nursery. Shipley Terrace, she drove a van for the nursery school. And after that, she worked for the government. So she worked 32 years at the Department of Commerce and retired. Yes. We all went to the church over here. It's called Varick Memorial AME Zion Church. We all grew up in this church, and my sister and I still attend this church today. We were all married in this church, and
our children were
baptized in this church. And Toba Watts was a member of this church, and he was one of the members who were very important in getting the new church built, because the church was a house, was like one of these little houses right here. And they knew they had a vision that they wanted a church building, a real church building. So a couple of families in the neighborhood who were members of the church put their houses up in order for this church to be built. Mm-hmm. So I thank God for them for that. And we were there when we finally paid off the mortgage, probably about 20 years ago. We did a mortgage burning, and that released those members from, their houses being tied up into the church. So the church, the community was a very good community growing up in. We all had friends. We knew each other. We knew everybody in the whole neighborhood because you went to the school here. Then we went to the middle school across the bridge, which was Woodson Junior High. She went to Eastern, but I went to Woodson Senior High because I was in the band. I was introduced to the band. And that was one good thing of growing up in the Washington, D.C. area public schools, is because they offered, they allowed us to, they gave us instruments that we could learn on to play in the band. And that's what we did. I learned on the clarinet. I played in junior high school, and then I played in Woodson Senior High School. And I was also in the work-study program where I worked at the I worked at the Library of Congress my 12th grade year and through college. So that was one of Marion Barry's programs where you could work while you were in school. So that's one thing that DC afforded a lot of the students, to be able to get into the job force and learn how to work and be a productive citizen. So I wound up going to college, coming back home, But unfortunately, I moved out of the neighborhood. You know, my brother still lived here. He lived in my parents' house. And we finally had to sell my parents' house probably about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, because my mom moved back home to Virginia. My father had passed away when I was 18, my first year in college. So my brother was living there for a while, but then he passed away, so we couldn't keep the house. So we sold the house, but we still have connections to the neighborhood. Our heart is here. We grew up here, and we go to the church here.
We had a grocery store.
Yes, we had everything. We had a grocery
Everything
store,
right
dry
here.
cleaners, drugstore. When we were growing up. All of that was available to us. But unfortunately, over the years, you know, everything changed and the store closed down.
Even it got so that the people that worked in the grocery stores and the drugstores, they knew us because we would come there all the time.
Exactly, exactly.
So it was definitely a family-oriented community.
Neighborhood, yes.
Now it's not, I mean, I guess because we don't live here anymore, it's not as friendly as I can see, and a lot of people don't tend to sway towards going to the church like it was when we were coming up. They kind of went away from it. But back then, everybody was with everybody, going to the church, volunteering, doing whatever needed to be done. At the school and Civic Center, they were strong on that. They were really strong. And I can't remember any of the people that, other than Mr. Watts, Toba Watts, and his wife, but there was one other gentleman that lived in the community, and he stayed here until he passed.
Mr. Washington, Mr. Johnson.
No, that was the little guy that used to walk around with the newspapers. He used to do the newspapers for the community. We had a newspaper for the community, and he would walk around, you know, to each one of the houses, delivering the newspapers and stuff to the house. Yeah.
But it's still a very nice neighborhood. It has changed over the years, and it's getting better. Yeah. I miss living here. If I had it to do all over again, I wouldn't have sold my parents' house. I would have stayed here.
You would have stayed.
Yes.
I don't know if I would have.
I would have, because I'm a city girl.
And you both come back to church.
Yes.
You still belong to the church.
Yes.
And obviously you're here today for the reunion.
Yes.
We're here every year if
Yes.
we can help it for the reunion.
Yes.
And do you mind me asking where you have moved to? Like, so you can't be that far if you're coming here for church.
30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I live in Bryan's Road, Maryland, which is southern Maryland, and she lives in White Plains,
Okay.
over by Waldorf. Yeah.
And I think you have a friend, maybe.
A couple of doors down from us too. Evelyn, would you like to share your history?
That's what I come to.
Okay, all right.
We will get, if you want to come talk here, I would love that. So we have, I guess the couple of thoughts I had. One is, you talked about the civic associations. And obviously building the church to have something for that community. What were some of the other issues that people were working towards to do community betterment through those associations?
I know they had a lot to do with this metro when they first started building it, and they made sure that the metro didn't come.
They protested. Yeah, the neighbors didn't want to stop in this neighborhood.
They also had a lot to do with Pepco and the fact that, you know, they had this big tower, smoke tower, when we were coming up, and they used to emit
black emissions.
Smoke.
That
so
probably wasn't good.
They had a lot to do with getting
Shutting
that shut down, and it moved out of the area. They kept, like I said, the main thing I know is they kept the children in the terrace busy doing something all the time. They got you involved, whether you wanted to be involved or not. You know, some children swayed away, but for the most part, they kept, you know, you involved in doing something productive. Let's put it that way. Yes.
So when you said some of the things have improved, were those some of the things you were thinking about, or how has it improved the neighborhood?
Well, I guess, you know, with the tennis courts down here, the basketball court over there,
River Terrace
the
school
has
kept
improved. You know, they changed the school around. It's totally different from when we were going there.
The Civic
I think
Center.
it's special needs now, if I'm not mistaken.
At the time, the Civic Association kept the school, the inner and outer appearance kept making sure that things were given to that school, just so we as children could thrive and have availability to a lot of different type of social activities. So they were involved with that, I know for sure, because it was like, you know, if the playground was looking kind of bad, they would come in and redo it, make sure the city come and redo it, that type of thing. We had in front of our house where we live, it was a big old parking lot. They made that parking lot a big playground for little kids to be able to, you know, do things. When me growing up and in my generation, it was just a parking lot. We could play kickball, baseball, stuff like that on it, you know, and that was one of our fun activities to have. But they made sure that we got what we needed for this community to thrive. I don't know how strong it is now, the association, because I'm not here anymore, but then it was really strong. We had some very concerned parents and citizens of this community.
Are there any things you wish for the future of River Terrace?
I'd like to see it where the young generation have what we have, if not more than what we have, in terms of thriving and being able to survive in, you know, the area versus just getting in trouble, because it's a lot of the young kids and stuff nowadays, they don't have any direction, and they're just doing whatever to make it and survive. I would like to make sure that the kids coming up now have something available to them like we did back then.
Yeah, that's true, because it seems as though they don't have as many activities as we had growing up. You know, a lot of summer programs that we had growing up.
It's our future. It's their future.
Yeah.
But we have to look towards them because we're getting older, you know.
And I would like to see that gazebo redone too. It's falling apart, and it would be nice if they could come in and fix that gazebo up.
That's one of the hazards, I guess, or one of the things that has not been done by the Civic Association now. You know, taking the time to make sure that they go down and take care of that, because that's been like that for a while.
Are there any last thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Just to say thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak and share whatever memories we've had of our past and growing up here in the neighborhood, and we look forward to a better and brighter River Terrace in the future.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.